What is going on, guys? My name is Trey. Welcome to the Tennessee Ant Keeper YouTube channel. As you can see here, we've got the lasius americanus colony that I've had for just about 2 years now. They were originally inside of a TarHeelAnts Mini Hearth, but I had to move them into the Ants Canada Hybrid Mini, and the reason for that was because in their Mini Hearth, they were finding a way to get out because the glass was too small. Luckily, Mac was able to send me out a new piece, and I got it within a week, but in between that time, I decided to move the lasius into this mini hybrid. Now, I don't know if it's because it's gross inside or what, but the ants started moving their cocoons, their larvae, and everything into this tube, so I kind of assumed that they were ready for something new. As you can see inside of the nest here, it's extremely gross there at the opening of it, and you'll see a little bit clearer later in this video. But here are some up-close shots of the ants. As you can see, I've got a lot of males running around in the colony, and I've actually been able to get some of them out and release them so they can do their nuptial flights. This is a dual queen colony, so it's really cool to see the queens both working together and not trying to kill each other. Because normally you hear horror stories of a multi-queen setup. So yeah, here's the nest. You can see how gross it was over there, and it's just, I don't know, like words can't even describe how just baffled I am at how gross it got so quick. And they were just trying to put rocks on top of all the mold and stuff to try to keep it from spreading, I guess. That's the only thing I could think of. That or they were just piling up their trash there at the start of the nest. So yeah, there's a lot of workers out in the outworld. You can see how gross the outworld looks because of the fluon. I let it run. So I think it's time that we get them out of this nest and into something more appropriate. It's pretty cool being able to use the iPhone 13 Pro Max's camera to see the ants up close and being able to see all the detail. You can see that in that male ant right there before he got out of focus. So that's really cool to be able to see. You can even see that with some of the workers as you zoom in. Just for size comparison too, here is what the Mini Hearth XXL looks like. Wait for it, here it comes. I'm getting it, it's coming. Here it is. Just look at how pretty of a nest and outworld this is. It's just, you can't go wrong with it. It's gorgeous. It's got everything the ants need. It's got the stalactites, stalagmites, whichever one's on the roof. It's got a nice pretty outworld. I decided to go with the vermiculated outworld, I guess, or maybe it's the yellow sand. I don't know. I will try to leave on the video what all I did to it, so you guys can see my exact options that I chose. This nest came out to be about $85, I believe, with everything that I got on it. So pretty cool. I love the nest. I love the Mini Hearth series. But here we're just going to go on ahead and take some cotton, and we're just going to go ahead and separate the nest from the outworld. And you'll see in the video what I do. I try to make it as easy for the ants to move as possible by putting the original nest on one side of the Mini Hearth XXL and the outworld on the other. Also, for those of you who have never had to do this, plug one side of a tube and close the other side of like an outworld or another tube. It's difficult. Ants, they get angry fast and they want to know what's up and why their home is being disturbed. So I didn't have any escapees, luckily. If I did, I think I had one. But the ones in the outworld, they were really chill with me. They didn't even try to run out. But the ones that were in the tube, you know, they were a little spooked, especially considering that the cocoons are right there. So yeah, they weren't too happy about that. I really don't know what I was going for whenever I filmed this, why it took me so long to do a transition there. But here is, again, the double XL mini hearth. I can't get over how pretty of a nest this is. Like, Mac, you did a fantastic job. If you have a team with you, you guys just blew this one out of the park, and I can't wait for the next product that I have to arrive, and you guys will get to see that too. No spoilers, but it's for the Formica. So anyways, like I said before, we're going to go ahead and attach the tube into the new nest. It's easy. You just use the appropriate size tube. I think you can get custom size holes for your mini hearth and other nests on TarHeelAnts website. I believe that I actually don't know the size of this tube, and I don't want to butcher it. I'm sorry. It's a small vinyl tube. Maybe it's 3/8. Maybe. Sounds right. I don't know. It's small. Alright? It's a small tube. You guys can honestly tell that I could not get over how nice this nest was because I just kept filming it, and I kept forgetting to take the dark plate off every single time that I went to record. So I just love it. Here we got our first worker coming in to explore. She's very curious about it. She really doesn't know how to react. It's always fun watching the ants move into a new nest because you always see just one trickle in, kind of explore, and then the rest kind of just start running in right after. But what I normally do is I will shine a bright light on the nest. You can kind of see the reflection of the light that I have on the tan part of the nest there. And that's normally what I do. A lot of my ants, they stay in the dark all the time, so I feel it's only appropriate that I do the light method. With the light method, you got to be careful too, because if you get too bright of a light on your ant nest or wherever you're trying to move your ants from, you can end up burning them. So always make sure you have a low powered light attached to your nest or whatever you want to move your ants into. That didn't make sense. That just didn't make sense. Make sure you got a light that's not going to kill your ants on the old nest, so they'll move into the new nest where it's dark and comfortable. That's all you had to say. So here we got the outworld going into the new nest as well. If you look over in the corner, you can kind of see some workers inside of the nest part of the new mini hearth. I think we're pretty cool with just calling this the mini hearth. I don't want to keep saying mini hearth double XL. One of the workers actually loved the nest so much and wanted to explore the outworld that she decided to go right over to the outworld. See her? There she goes. She's right there, and she's turning around. Ants are so funny. I tried to show you guys the ant because I didn't think you could see it on the mouse pad. But turns out you can kind of see them. They look like little ghosts. So this is just a few more hours after starting this process. I think it's about 2 or 3 hours. I tried to write it all down, but in reality, I can't remember. This whole process took about 3.5 days. So the ants moved really slow. But the good thing about it is they were able to get all of their cocoons and everything into the nest relatively quick. I was actually really surprised how fast they were able to move all of their brood and stuff into the new nest. As you can see in this outworld, there's a lot of work to be done. It's extremely gross. I will say I love Ant Shack's products. I love their outworlds. I love that they include gravel, but I cannot keep the gravel clean. And just when I thought I got it cleaned up, I look over and you can see just a huge pile of like dead ants and everything else. So Ant Shack, if you watch this, I love you. I love your products. I really do. But maybe if you want to include rock, maybe get a very bright rock, because the brown, though pretty, okay, very pretty, to me it's just not cool. My eyes are not like they used to be, you know, 5 years ago. I'm not that old, but they're not the same, okay? It's just too dark for me. I can't see. So here's the ants inside of the mini hybrid. I believe, again, this was another hour after whatever you just saw. I wrote it down. I thought I wrote it down, but I didn't. So the ants are kind of moving in. They're getting really comfortable here now, and there's a lot more in the outworld exploring, and just I could have sat here all day and night watching these ants explore this new setup. They really love it, and even now after recording that video, I still see the same amount of activity inside of the outworld. So like I said, you know, gotta keep removing the dark plate because I failed to remember to just leave it off. I noticed that these ants really like the water tower, and they will put their brood piles up there, and then they'll bring sand, I guess, from the inside of the nest that's loose, and they'll put that on the larvae so they can spin their cocoons, or at least help them to spin their cocoons. It's really neat to watch them do this. Even with my other colonies, like my Formica ants, they do the same thing. I believe we're actually at day 2, maybe about midday, and not much has really changed, honestly, between day 1 and day 2. As you can see, it's still kind of same old, same old. You can see all 17 of my cameras on my phone in the glare of that dark plate, though, which is pretty cool. I guess, you know, gotta have all kinds of cameras on your phones nowadays. You'll also notice that I have 2 nestmates in the back and a water tower in the top of the outworld. I did that to experiment to see how much water these ants would drink, and oh my goodness, they drink a lot of water. That Biformica liquid feeder I had at the top, it was gone after 48 hours, which granted, it's a small water tower, but oh my goodness, these ants they just love water, okay? That's all I can say. So there's one of the queens. I don't know if you saw her. If you saw her, cool. I think I panned back over. So one of the queens, I believe at this point, had moved, and the other one is still sticking behind. She is just really digging this nest. She didn't want to move. In her defense, I have moved these ants a lot this year, so this will be the last time I move them for a long while. So long as, you know, they don't bring moldy, dead insects into their nest. Yeah. I do think it's safe to say, though, that this nest was the better option over the Ants Canada nest. So I highly recommend new ant keepers go to TarHeelAnts website and get you a mini hearth to start your founding colonies. Heck, even your somewhat established colonies and test tubes, you can just toss them right into the mini hearth. Not literally. Don't grab them and throw them into the mini hearth, but you know, you can attach them to the mini hearth and they will be fine. They will thrive, honestly, especially your cocoon spinning species like some Camponotus and Formica. It just helps them to develop faster. The sand does. It helps the larvae to spin the cocoons, so I highly recommend getting one. Here's a close-up of some really dirty water. You can see I tried to do the ice trick. Guys, I did this in desperation because it was going on like day 3 or 4. Like I said, it went on for like 3 or 4 days, maybe 5 even. I don't remember. It was a week's time. And it's just insane how slow these ants were to move. The ice obviously slows the ants down. You can see they're taking a newly eclosing worker. They did not like that she was sitting behind. But the ice, you know, it's not really recommended. Some people say it's amazing. I don't ever recommend it to people because you can kill your ants. In fact, I went ahead and got 2 large ice packs. Again, bad idea. I went and got 2 large ice packs and put them beside the mini hybrid Ants Canada nest, and I ended up killing about 15 to 20 workers. So, you know, use ice maybe as like a last resort, or don't use so much. But you know, we as ant keepers, we gotta learn from our mistakes. I hated that I killed some innocent insects. That's literally the worst feeling ever. But you know, life goes on. I hate that I did that, so I will never encourage using ice to help your ants move. Here I tried to get some shots of the last of the ants inside of the outworld. What I ended up doing actually was trying to shoo away the workers, and I picked up some of the males that were left in the outworld. There were about maybe 5 or 6 males in the outworld and a few workers left over, but I ended up picking them up with some feather forceps or light forceps that you can get from TarHeelAnts, and I ended up just dumping them into the outworld. You'll see that clip here in a minute. I just felt that was more appropriate to do, considering that these ants would not have left that outworld if I didn't do anything. But yes, as you can see, there's no more piles of brood inside this nest. It's just the workers exploring. After this clip was whenever I decided to do the ice packs. Again, learn from my mistakes. Don't use ice packs on your ant nests if they are trying to move. It doesn't matter how much of a rush you're in. I learned the hard way, and I will never do it again. You can also see there is some sort of a fly inside of the nest, so that's pretty freaking awesome, I guess. The ants and that fly have worked together. Yep, see, bad. This is bad. Don't do this. I didn't show a clip of them all dead, but they all died after this. It took maybe 5 minutes for them to all die. They froze to death. Don't do it. Bad Trey. Future Trey is very upset with past Trey right now because of this, okay? There's another newly eclosing worker, which I thought was pretty cool to see. I notice a lot with my ant colonies that the newly eclosed workers are the ones that are trying to eclose and harden their exoskeletons. They always hang out on the glass, which for some reason to me is just really enjoyable. There's another one actually out of focus right there to the side. It's just really cool to be able to see them doing that and growing. You kind of get to see all stages of life with ants whenever they're in something like a mini hearth. Sometimes in the Ants Canada mini hybrid you couldn't see that. It was really hard to see the ants at times because they were just walking over each other, or like you notice there's a big pile of trash there. They were walking on the trash and you couldn't notice them. So at this point I had officially cleaned out the outworld. Like I said, I picked them all up. The rest of the workers and the males, I picked the rest of them up and I put them in a little cup. You'll see that cup. See? There's maybe, what, 1 or 2 males inside of this cup. I think it's just 1, and the rest were workers. I was unable to just grab the the male after dumping them into that container. But, you know, after dumping them in the outworld, they were fine. Normally, I would not shake the container this aggressively, but with that fluon on the opening of the cup, I felt like I had to be very aggressive with it. You don't have to. That stuff is slippery. I've had an ant get stuck on that before, so I guess I felt that I had to beat the heck out of it to get the ants out of there, but in reality I didn't. But at this point, all of the ants had been moved into the new nest, and honestly I think that they're much happier. If they aren't happy, they are at least cleaner. See? They drank all that water within that day's time. It's insane. But I think that the ants are at least happier than what they were inside of that mini hybrid. It seemed like anytime I jostled my table that they sat on, they were scurrying around, running rampant. And the few times that I've hit my desk that these have been on, they haven't done that. But guys, I just want to say thank you so much for everything, for all the watches, for all the likes, for all the comments you guys do. We are officially, at the time of recording this, at 315 subs. That's amazing. I will have a giveaway here very soon. The next video will be the rules on that and how to enter. But don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. I really appreciate everything that you guys do for this channel, and it means a lot. So from the bottom of my heart to all of you, I love you and I appreciate every one of you. Reach out to me in the comments or on Instagram. I will leave links in the description to all the music that was played inside of this video. Bye, guys.